Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for April 25th. April 25th is the 115th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 116th in leap years, with 250 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is Zoilus. Zoilus is a noun that means a harsh critic. It's named after a man named Zoilus who lived several hundred years BC. He was sharply critical of Homer. Earliest documented use of the word Zoilus is 1560. When was that? Earliest documented use of the word Zoilus, 1565. I'd like to take a moment to mention that links to my research are included in the show notes. Ask you to go ahead and click that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And feel free to share this video with others. You can use a link in your email, messages, or social media for that. Be sure and stay to the end for the outtakes and let me know your thoughts in the comments section. And with that, we're going to start in the year 1792 when highwayman Nicholas J. Pelletier became the first person executed by guillotine. A highwayman was a robber who would steal from travelers. Highwaymen usually rode horses in the execution of their crimes, as compared to footpads who traveled and robbed on foot. I found this amusing, that highwaymen were considered to be socially superior to footpads. Apparently there were also highway women, but they would usually dress as men. You're more likely to see highway women depicted in works of fiction than in historical accounts. Highwaymen have been romanticized as some sort of Robin Hood, but robbery is still robbery, and highwaymen participated in a particularly violent form of stealing, which doesn't sound that romantic to me. Looks like the authorities of the day felt that way too, since Nicholas Pelletier lost his head in the guillotine over this. On April 25th, 1859, British and French engineers broke ground for the Suez Canal. New York became the first U.S. state to require automobile license plates on April 25th, 1901. This is the birthday of American journalist Edward R. Murrow, born April 25, 1908. He lived to the age of 57. This is the birthday of American singer Ella Fitzgerald, born April 25, 1917. She lived to the age of 79. This is the birthday of basketball player Meadowlark Lemon, born April 25, 1932. He's perhaps best known as a member of the Harlem Globetrotters, the basketball team. The great Wilt Chamberlain said that in his opinion, Meadowlark Lemon was the best basketball player of all time. In later years, Meadowlark Lemon became an ordained minister and had a ministry called Meadowlark Lemon Ministries in Scottsdale, Arizona. He lived to the age of 83. It's Al Pacino's birthday, too. Born April 25, 1940, the United Negro College Fund was incorporated on April 25, 1944. On April 25, 1953, Francis Crick and James Watson published an article entitled Molecular Structure of Nucleic Acids, a Structure for Deoxyribose Nucleic Acid, describing the double helix structure of DNA. The first practical solar cell was publicly demonstrated by Bell Telephone Laboratories on April 25, 1954. In 1959, the St. Lawrence Seaway, linking the North American Great Lakes and the Atlantic Ocean, officially opened to shipping on April 25, 1959. A man named Robert Noyce was granted a patent for an integrated circuit on April 25, 1961. On April 25, 1983, American schoolgirl Samantha Smith was invited to visit the Soviet Union by its leader, Yuri Andropov, after he read her letter in which she expressed fears about nuclear war. She will have been about 10 when that happened, 10 years old. She wrote her letter to him, a very clear and straightforward letter, and she stated her concerns so innocently and so clearly that her letter was published in the Soviet newspaper Pravda. She heard that her letter had been published, but she hadn't heard back from Mr. Andropov yet. So she wrote to him again. By golly, he sure did. He wrote back to her. I would read you both their letters, but I don't think that I could do it without tearing up. So I've placed a link in the show notes for you if you'd like to read them yourself. I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to check those out. Of course, he did reply to her, and his letter is very thoughtful as well, concluding with his invitation for her to come visit what was then the Soviet Union. And she did. She got to go visit the Soviet Union that summer. She found the people there to be people just like people here. They were warm and welcoming to her. She had a bit of a whirlwind career as a childhood ambassador, a Disney Channel personality, and an actress. Sadly, she died in a plane crash while returning home from an acting gig in Hollywood when she was 13. Pioneer 10 traveled beyond Pluto's orbit on April 25th, 1983. And I think that's going to do it for us today. As always, links to my research are included in the show notes. You can check out my other channel, 8 Susquehanna. There's a link in the show notes to that. Images are retrieved from Bing Images, either public domain or licensed free to use and share. I think the correct terminology is free to share and use. Our lovely outro music is Divine Life Society by Jesse Gallagher from YouTube Music Library, and there's a link to his channel in the show notes. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give it a like. Be sure and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. And remember that you can share this video with others with the link in your email, messaging, or social media. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Okay, do that again. We'll do that in a minute. Thank you. That might not make it into the video, we'll see. Changing it up.